Eric Burgess here with Music Marketing TV. Today we're checking out Pianoteq 9 Pro. If you're unfamiliar with Pianoteq, it is a monster of an instrument. It's almost intimidating how much is in this thing. It's impossible to cover in a short video. So I want to cover sort of the highlights and the new things that are in here. So among those new things are, of course, updates to the engine. So these aren't things that we have exact details on because they are little technical things, but the piano sounds more real than it did before. Among these updates, one of them is the Sombre preset. So there are now these Sombre presets in here. And if you're unfamiliar with the way Pianoteq works, instruments are settings that you can't really adjust. They're in the engine. And then the presets are things you can get to by starting at this instrument, and then you can mess with the settings in a way to get to this. So Sombre has been added to many of these. Let's go ahead and give it a listen. This is on the Steinway D. Yeah, it's a really nice sound. I'm a big fan. This is a good spot to mention the new pedal. This is another one of those things that you find out about, and if you're unaware of it, it's just kind of like, you got to be kidding me. If you right click on the pedals, there are all these types of pedals you can pick. And the newest one is the Thunder pedal. It is made to let you play really loud. So if we go ahead and turn this on, if we go ahead and hit up maybe a low note, if we take the Thunder pedal off, the similar velocity you can see. So yeah, it's a good time. If you're looking for those loud, epic things, definitely a pedal worth considering. There is a new harp, the Triple Harp. It comes in the harp area. If we go ahead and just take a quick look at this, this is the Triple Harp. Yeah, it's a cool instrument. Definitely check it out. It is part of the family here, so there's 3 of them. Let's go ahead and look through a few more of the presets here. They have one here for spacious. I always like checking out the spacious ones. Botched the last note there, but you know, it was pretty good while it was going. So in here, of course, if you click, you have all these amazing parameters to mess with so you can get control over the engine. If you're unfamiliar, this kind of gets to ridiculous proportions because you have something up here called the note edit area that allows you to edit these things on a per note basis. So all of this stuff can be changed per note. It gets ridiculous. We're not going to go that far today because it is way too crazy, but I wanted to point it out. But if you're looking for the new stuff, you might be looking at these graphs and being, oh, wow, these things are new. Yeah, they are new, and they are a very nice way to visualize the information and adjust the parameters. So for example, one of my favorite things to do with this is to mess with the decay per frequency. So if we bring this like way up, we can have it almost acts like a reverb, but it's not. So how it's modeled. If we do this on a piano, it can be quite cool. Let's go for another new preset. You'll notice there are now these felt ones, and this is another thing that has been added. So let's take that and we will go ahead and just adjust the design. While we're here, there's another thing I'd like to show you. If we bring this up and add decay, yeah. If we bring it way down, you can get these awesome little plucky textures. And in here is a new parameter. You'll notice there's now a hammer tone slider that allows you to adjust the tone of the hammer. So you can get a much more pronounced or a way less pronounced one. With our particular combo here, it's kind of exaggerated. Maybe we bring this out. I imagine it's like you've stuck a mic way too close to the hammers. We'll go ahead and dial this back and get a little bit more of a muffled sound. And this could be pretty nice if we take this and mix it with something like a somber preset. And we take the hammer and we reduce it. Let's go even further with this. Maybe kind of extreme. Versus if we were to really accentuate this. Maybe we give it the pluck treatment. Fun. The mics in mix area has gotten a massive overhaul. And if we take a look at it just visually, this is much less intimidating than what was here before. It looks a lot more like a mixer. So you can easily add microphones. You can easily adjust them, pan them, and it's all right here. And in the layout, that's a lot more familiar than the version that we had before. I'm going to go ahead and just pick an ORTF, and I'll go ahead and add another pair of DPA 4041s to this scene. And I'm going to take these and sort of mic them back over here. And let's go ahead and hear it. Here's the marimba. We'll add some 4011s to this. And normally the call when I'm miking something like this is I have two mics pointed down from above, and then I might have another stereo pair further away. I keep forgetting this is like vertical space. And like AB or something. These are not equidistant, but whatever. We'll do something like this. And you can get a great sound this way. We'll put these right over the top and position them like so. Let's hear it. I'm also going to leave this menu. I'm going to go into the effects, and on the verb, I'm going to turn the duration up. And the other effects, I think I'll leave alone. We might mess with the delay. Let's go ahead and hear this though. Yeah, that's much nicer. Marimbas are so fun. They have such a cool sound. It's tricky to write for them because it's easy to accidentally forget how difficult it can be with working with mallets. You have to watch the number of notes you use. So you can't just play it in willy-nilly and expect it to be come across easily playable if you intend to give this to a real player eventually. But just listen to it. It's amazing sounding. If we take a look at the xylophone as well, if you haven't messed with the instrument morphing and layer capabilities, it can be quite the rabbit hole. So if you click up here on this morph slash layer, it brings you to this option between morphing and layers. If we go for morphing, this slider now controls the percentage of each instrument's influence over the engine underneath the hood, essentially. And it will morph between the two instruments. So we need to select another instrument. Let's go for a piano. And whichever one has the majority is what the instrument interface will swap to. But if you ever want to edit one specifically, you can simply click. And this is an automatable parameter. It'll add a tune there. This is the ring. But you get the idea. You're able to go between different instruments. We can add another one. We can have it be random to sort of generate us some different instruments. And if we look up here, we see there are the options for clicking between them. Because again, you can edit things on a per note level with this. So this is a whole rabbit hole. This is one that I haven't gone down super far. I tend to come in here and think of just a particular instrument. Another option is the layers. So if we click on a layer, we can add multiple layers to what's going on. So instead of it going from one instrument to the next, it will just have these different layers coming in. So for example, we'll just hit random to get some sort of a starting point, and I'm going to go ahead and have these both be 100. So they're both going to play loudly. And we're going to take these and go into the note edit. And what you can do is if we come over to volume, we can have it so that some don't play in certain ranges. You can do all kinds of stuff with this note edit thing because you can come in and change so many parts of the layers and create a sort of this really interesting way of going from one instrument to another. But let's just say we don't want one instrument to play in a certain range and we want it to sort of start to come in somewhere around here. And so now when I play these lower notes, but as I play higher, we'll get both of these as a range. And then I can come in back to the layers and maybe I want to have them have a little bit different of a mix. Maybe we'll have a mix something like this. Go back down to a normal range. This can be a really intuitive way to work with it. I actually think the layers for me tends to resonate more than using the morphing capabilities because it just happens as you play. It feels very intuitive. So that is a really brief overview of some of the new things as well as some of the things that are just impressive. I do want to mention at least one more. The tuning is another area that is like deceptively deep. if you click on the plus icon, you can introduce some extremely sophisticated tuning mechanisms. This is not a new feature. It's been in here for many versions, but it is so crazy what you can do with some of these things, especially when you combine them with the layers and maybe some of the instruments that aren't pianos, can lead to some really, really cool results. Another thing that is just cool to know about, but you might completely miss it, is there's a calibration here that allows you to, if you come in and it'll ask you to calibrate your keyboard so you can get a really nice dynamic curve with your particular keyboard. It's just super nice. I'm impressed they went to the trouble of putting the chords. They have a music theory kind of engine on this. It's crazy. On top of it just being a killer physically modeled synth, which is something I didn't really talk about because a lot of people start with that. It's kind of the big selling point. This is not a very big thing. I didn't look at the size, but when you compare it to things like sample libraries, those libraries are huge, gigabytes and gigabytes of samples of recordings. This is synthesized, and it's using these really complex methods in order to do so. And because of that, it allows it to be a very small instrument and it runs fantastic. I've had zero issues with it being slow. There's a couple things I see a lot of people that they tend to like to mention. Down here, there's a condition slider that allows you to sort of turn your instrument old versus an old worn version. Yeah, I'm not sure if it did anything on the previous one. It might have been because we were using layers or it's an electric instrument. But you can clearly hear it working here. So this is something people tend to love. Something that got me that I was like, I can't believe you can do this. It's not like a cool, like, oh, you've got to have it. But you can take the keyboard off and have it anywhere. This is just interesting to me. This is a feature they took the time to add because I don't know. It's kind of nice to know it can do this for demonstration purposes. If you just click again on this thing, it'll put it back. But I was just amused when I found that. If you mess with the piano down here, there's a chromatic mode, but there are some other modes because right there is a guitar as well. And the guitar has a whole bunch of different special articulations and ways of playing it. And and you can force it to use a particular string. And so this allows you to negotiate that. And there's also a mode for the harp, which is what this is, where these act like the pedals around the harp. If you've never played a harp, we take a quick look at one. The harp has these pedals down here at the bottom, and they allow you to change the notes the strings are. And so right now we're in chromatic mode. In diatonic mode, the way this interacts is these act sort of like the pedals and the black keys will allow you to do the shifts up or down like you were adjusting the pedals. Which, if you don't play a harp, if you're going to write for a harp, this is actually really good because it'll sort of force you to write parts that sort of make sense. You're a lot more aware of what the player will be doing. But I like just using chromatic mode because it behaves the way I sort of expect it to. But it looks kind of cool. And then, of course, I already talked about the miking, but this really is an amazing resource. And the fact that, they've modeled how it would bounce around in a room and how it would sound. And that's a huge portion of why it sounds as good as it does. So that's the tip of the iceberg for Pianoteq 9. Hopefully this piques your interest. It is a very worthwhile tool to have. If you have any questions, drop them down below, subscribe to that bell icon for future videos, and have a blessed day.